PlayStation 4 feels like a modern piece of electronics. Just watch. Despite all the talk about social features and GDDR5 RAM, the most immediately impressive aspect of using the PlayStation 4 is how quickly and seamlessly it jumps between applications, the dashboard, and various online functionality. Mid-game and want to broadcast your gameplay to the internet? That takes about 20 seconds to set up. Or maybe you want to take your game portable via remote play. A similarly speedy process. Let's start with the operating system. The OS is optimized around simplifying the complex nature of the PlayStation 4. Everything on the main screen is based on your most recently used apps, both games and other software, with the exception of what's new showing your social feed first and foremost. If you start downloading an app, it automatically populates as a new square in the main content area. If you play a disc-based game, it starts installing and leaves a permanent square in the same area. We're more than a little worried that said main area will become a bit messy as more and more apps and games are left in the main area, and the library doesn't help to keep things organized. Hopefully somebody at Sony will figure things out and issue a patch down the line that hopefully clean things up. The initial load of a disc-based game, even after installation, can be punishingly long. We're talking more than a minute. After that load, jumping in and out of said game is instant. Should you load up Hulu or Netflix or some other application, the game suspends. You can even leave any game suspended while powering down the console in standby mode, leaving your console ready for remote downloads, overnight patches, and other stuff. Beware though, standby mode isn't dissimilar to leaving a computer running, and shutting down the PS4 without going through the proper software channels can feel a little bit technical. The console restarts next time in safe mode, and all of it feels a little bit janky and not very user-friendly. Above the main content area, a cross-media bar-esque line of sub-apps awaits your commands. Notifications, the friends list, party chat, etc. It's a nuts and bolts section of the dashboard, and it functions quickly and efficiently. There are some minor organizational issues. Downloads in the notifications section, but all in all, the whole OS is far more organized and logical than the PlayStation 3's messy cross-media bar. That share button is no joke. From within any game, you tap the button and you're quickly able to upload a video to Facebook or start broadcasting live to Twitch and Ustream. We're talking quickly, within 30 or so seconds depending on how much metadata you want to fill out. Viewing streams or video clips is just as easy in Live from PlayStation, the application that enables viewing friends' live streams. Those clips are also all over the many social plugins found all over the PlayStation 4's interface, from your What's New feed to the overview section below each individual application. There's no missing the share functionality on PlayStation 4, and there's never been a more accessible way to begin game broadcasting. Whether or not it's for you is another question altogether. Those shy guys can always choose to leave the interactive elements out by opting out pre-broadcast. The PlayStation Store is the most organized we've ever seen it. Everything is handled via the left rail, and applications are easily found as well as games. You can find free-to-play stuff, you can find AAA stuff, you can find movies, and you can find it all relatively easily. There's a rich content screen that populates with various options for download or streaming or trials, depending on whether you're checking out games or films or television. And it's really a dramatic improvement from what we saw on the PlayStation 3 and even on the Vita. Though Sony's promised a dramatically improved network experience on the PlayStation 4, we've yet to thoroughly experience it given that we've only had the console for a few days and we've only had the post-day one update patch for a single 24 hours. Despite us not being able to test the network, the one major improvement that's already there is the fact that parties operate on a system level and you can jump from game to game with 8 players and even have multiple lobbies. This makes a huge difference and creates a much more social experience on the PlayStation 4 and something that is far more seamless than the experience on the PlayStation 3. You can even add friends from the Vita.
Bet you smell like fish! No, you do!
Look at that black parallelogram. What a crazy looking little box. It feels dense, it looks sharp, and it fits beautifully into our dark, shadowy hearts. It also fits well into our media centers, being both a nice size and conveniently angular. It's also delightfully quiet. It's only the occasional processing noise or disk spin-up. After spending an entire day grinding away on games and apps and downloads, the hottest the console got was relatively warm. The PlayStation 4's look is distinct either stood up or laid flat. Even if you don't have the extra sold separately stand for the base, the PlayStation 4 stands by itself vertically pretty well. The only other physical standout on the PlayStation 4 is a light bar that runs from the back to the front, indicating whether the console is on with a blue light, in standby mode with an amber light, or off with no light. The DualShock 4 is by far the best DualShock Sony's ever made. It's got much improved triggers from the DualShock 3. It's It's got clickier, shorter face buttons. It has an excellent D-pad that feels a little bit squishy and a little bit organic as a result. And it's got improved thumbsticks that still aren't perfect. The biggest addition to the DualShock 4 is the brand new touchpad in the middle. It supports multi-touch, and it feels great. It's really responsive, it's clickable, and it works in-game flawlessly. It's something that you can incorporate into your gameplay very quickly. In Killzone Shadowfall, it's incorporated very well and gives an excellent demonstration, quickly being used to navigate an in-game robot. The speaker doesn't add much and sounds a little cheap. In Knack, it occasionally activates to show that you've collected various artifacts, and in other games, some sounds on screen are replicated by the controller speaker, but otherwise, we haven't found any meaningful addition to gameplay. The start and select buttons have been swapped out in place of an options button, which is essentially the same as a start button, and a share button, which brings up all of your broadcasting. The light bar out back is a little bright and indicates where you are and which player you are, and it can be a little obnoxious while you're playing a game in the dark. It's otherwise a pretty okay feature, but doesn't really change a lot in terms of the way that you actually interact with games. Overall, the fit and finish of the DualShock 4 is a dramatic improvement from the DualShock 3. It's comfortable, it works really well in games, and it feels like a really easy addition to our living room. Of course, the most important aspect of the PlayStation 4 is how well it plays games and what games are actually there. Of the handful that we've played of the launch lineup, there are some big standouts in Killzone Shadowfall, Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, and Battlefield 4, as well as the PlayStation Network title Resogun. All the games on the PlayStation 4 that we've checked out look pretty great, with some faring better than others. Killzone Shadowfall is especially beautiful and really highlights the massive hardware improvement internally to the PlayStation 4 over its predecessor. PlayStation Plus on PlayStation 4 is the same service you know and love. Free monthly games available, and Resogun and Contrast are the first two available on the PlayStation 4 at launch this week. If you've already got PlayStation Plus on Vita or PS3, you got it on your PS4, and enables some extra stuff for next gen. Online multiplayer and game patch downloads, two pretty major functions. If anything, PlayStation Plus on PS4 more closely resembles Xbox Live's paid gold subscription than ever before. The PlayStation app is available for download now on both iOS and Android. We've paired ours with the PlayStation 4, and we've used it as a second screen to control the console, but beyond that, it doesn't do that much else. Sure, you can queue games and buy them remotely, and that's pretty helpful, but otherwise, it really doesn't do too much. Hopefully Sony will add in more along the line, and connecting it isn't too difficult, but right now it's just pretty underwhelming. Not many titles currently support the second screen, but the one aspect Sony's emphasized most is remote purchases. It certainly works, queuing games for download remotely on our standby mode PS4, but it's pretty far from exciting. The PlayStation 4 after its day one update is worth your full $100. It's got great looking games, a fantastic gamepad, and most importantly, it feels like a modern piece of electronics. The next gen is here, and it's thankfully as fast as our tablets. Just like the PlayStation 3, expect the PlayStation 4 to evolve as both games and players' expectations change across the next 10 years.